The night before my wedding should have been the safest memory of my life. Instead, it became the blueprint of everything I needed to escape. The rehearsal dinner was at a waterfront restaurant in downtown Seattle, the kind with floor-to-ceiling windows and soft amber lighting that made everyone look more polished than they actually were. I arrived 10 minutes early, but of course, Ethan and my family were already inside. They always arrived in a pack, like a well-rehearsed performance troupe where everyone knew their lines except me. My mother saw me first. "Leela, finally." She said finally like I was late, even though I wasn't. Her eyes skimmed me from head to toe, taking inventory, silently calculating everything she'd change if she could. My father gave me a quick nod. "Congratulations again, kiddo. The way people congratulate you on winning a raffle, not on choosing a partner you thought you'd spend forever with." But what hit me first wasn't them, it was Sabrina. My cousin, my sister's shadow, my family's favorite accessory. She stood beside Ethan, laughing, her hand grazing his arm like he belonged to her, not me. She wore a white dress the night before my wedding rehearsal, and no one questioned it. Not my mother, who adored Sabrina like she birthed her. Not my father, who treated Sabrina like the daughter of his dreams. Not even Ethan, because he didn't even look surprised to see her wearing white. He smiled when I approached, but it wasn't his usual smile. It didn't reach his eyes. It was hollow, stiff, like he was performing and forgetting his lines. "You made it, Leela." He leaned forward to kiss my cheek, not my lips. I felt the first break inside me, thin, sharp, almost imperceptible. The dinner carried on like a scene from a play where everyone except me had rehearsed for weeks. Sabrina dominated every conversation. Her job, her new hairstylist, her podcast interview, her upcoming big announcement. Every time she spoke, my family leaned in like she'd just discovered electricity. I sat quietly, smiling, adding small comments when necessary, swallowing the feeling of shadows wrapping around my throat. Halfway through the salad course, my father lifted his glass. "Let's toast Sabrina on the eve of my wedding rehearsal." Someone asked what the big announcement was. Sabrina waved a manicured hand. "Oh, tomorrow. Everyone will know tomorrow." I didn't know then that the announcement was the end of my engagement. During dessert, Ethan kept disappearing. First for a phone call, then for a work message, then mysteriously to the hostess stand. Each time, Sabrina vanished minutes before or after him. My mother noticed, but instead of questioning it, she laughed softly. They've always gotten along well. Always. Past tense. Present tense. Future tense, I didn't know yet. After dinner, as everyone migrated toward the bar, I slipped toward the hallway to fix my makeup. Halfway there, I heard whispering, not playful, not harmless, intimate. I recognized the voices instantly. Sabrina, Ethan. My blood froze, the world tilting under my heels. I took a step closer, breath lodged in my throat. Sabrina's giggle cut through the air. "Ethan, stop. What if she sees?" His voice dropped into a tone I hadn't heard him use with me in months. "Relax, she's still inside. They always keep her busy." Touches. I could hear the sound, clothing shifting, their breath mixing. I pressed myself against the wall, breathing through my nose, afraid the sound of my heartbeat would give me away. Sabrina whispered again, "I can't wait to tell them. Tomorrow everything will be out. No more sneaking." Ethan chuckled. "I've wanted you for months." Months. MONTHS, every letter carved itself into my bones. I wanted to scream, to burst into the hallway and throw the engagement ring at their faces. But I didn't move. I couldn't, not because of fear, because of clarity. My entire relationship flashed before my eyes, every excuse Ethan gave, every time he chose someone else over me, every moment my family adored Sabrina and ignored me. This wasn't sudden. This wasn't accidental. This was planned. Footsteps rounded the corner, my mother and father. They saw them. Saw Ethan holding Sabrina's waist. Saw their faces inches apart. Saw Sabrina's hand clutching Ethan's shirt. My heart surged. Finally, justice. But my mother froze, her expression not of shock but calculation. She grabbed my father's arm. "Don't say a word. Sabrina will fall apart if we confront her. Let it go. We'll handle this later." My father nodded. "Agreed. Tomorrow is important. Leela is calm. Sabrina is sensitive. sensitive. That word snapped something in me. They walked away, leaving Ethan and Sabrina tangled in each other, leaving me alone with the truth, leaving my engagement to crumble in silence. I didn't confront them. I didn't cry. I didn't break. I walked back inside, sat at the bar, and ordered a water. I watched my family laugh, saw Ethan return with Sabrina behind him, and felt something inside me shift beyond repair. Later that night, I placed my engagement ring on my dresser. No tears, no hesitation, no explanations. I packed a bag, grabbed my keys, and before sunrise, I vanished. I left Seattle at 5:12 a.m. while the sky was still a bruised blue-gray. The streets were empty except for a few early shift workers and delivery trucks. My hands shook on the steering wheel, not from panic but from adrenaline. The kind that comes when your life burns down and all you can do is drive away from the flames. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I didn't leave a note. I didn't answer the buzzing phone vibrating relentlessly against my console. Every message preview looked the same. Leela, where are you? Don't be dramatic, call us. This isn't the time. Stop ruining this. RUINING, a word always assigned to me, never to them. I turned off the phone. 3 hours later, I pulled into a small coastal town I hadn't visited since childhood. My grandmother used to bring me here on weekends, back before life taught me that love had conditions and silence was survival. The ocean was rough that morning, waves slamming against the jagged rocks like they were fighting to stay alive. I related. I found a cheap motel on the edge of town with a flickering vacancy sign. The owner, Aria, looked to be in her 30s, messy bun, warm eyes, a kindness I didn't remember strangers having. "You look like you need sleep," she said simply. I nodded, too exhausted to pretend otherwise. She handed me a key. Room 12. Towels are warm, coffee's free. I slept for 18 hours. When I woke, sunlight bled through the curtain. My throat was dry. My body felt heavy. My face was stiff from dried tears I didn't remember shedding. My phone had 49 missed calls, 27 messages, and 11 voicemails. Not a single one asked if I was okay. Every message was blame or confusion or denial. My aunt of all people was the one who told me the truth. She sent a voice message, her tone sickly cheerful. "Leela, sweetie, just checking in. I'm sure you already heard, but Ethan and Sabrina came forward with their feelings. They didn't want to hurt you. They just fell in love. Don't make a scene. Family is family." I replayed the message twice. On the third replay, I blocked her. Aria knocked as I was wiping my face. "You okay?" she asked. I wasn't. But I nodded anyway. She handed me a muffin and a job application. "I need someone at the front desk for a few weeks. Pays weekly. You look like you could use something steady." I stared at her. "Why?" I asked. Aria shrugged. "Because you look like you're drowning. And I've been there." That was enough. I said yes. That night, I sat on the motel's rooftop alone, listening to the ocean pound against the shore. My mind replayed the hallway scene. My fiancé kissing my cousin, my parents turning away. Their betrayal didn't break me. It freed me. The next month passed in a strange, healing rhythm. Every morning I unlocked the motel office, brewed coffee, answered calls, folded brochures, and learned how to exist without pretending. Aria became the first person in years who asked me questions without judgment. "What happened? What do you want? Who are you when no one's watching?" I didn't know how to answer at first, but slowly I began to. One slow afternoon, she introduced me to Cal, a graphic designer who used the motel lobby as a makeshift workspace. He was quiet, artistic, with dark hair always falling into his eyes. He nodded at me politely the first week but eventually started conversations. Not probing ones, gentle ones. "Do you like photography? Ever try surfing? What brought you here?" I didn't tell him the truth at first. I didn't want to be someone's tragic story, but he didn't push. Therapy began on Thursdays. My therapist, Dr. Keene, listened to everything, the manipulation, the favoritism, the betrayal. After one session, she said something that sliced me open in the best way. "You didn't lose them, Leela. You removed yourself from a place where love was conditional." That sentence became the heartbeat of my transformation. I started journaling. I took long walks along the cliffs. I learned to breathe again. I learned to eat again. I learned to exist without fear of disappointing someone. One afternoon, Cal saw me holding my old camera, the one I bought years ago but never used because Ethan called hobbies a distraction. He smiled, "Come with me." He led me to a hidden overlook where the ocean stretched endlessly. We stayed there until the sky blazed orange and pink. I didn't take photos at first, I just stared. "You don't have to be good at it," Cal said. "You just have to enjoy it." Enjoyment. A foreign word. I lifted my camera. The shutter clicked. Something in me clicked too. Weeks later, I applied for a remote digital content role with a brand I admired. I submitted new photos, new projects, a new version of myself. They hired me in 3 days. Meanwhile, Sabrina posted a series of engagement pictures with Ethan, photos taken on the exact cliff where he once proposed to me. People sent them to me with pity. My reaction surprised me. I felt nothing. Not jealousy, not pain, not grief, just clarity. I was finally building a life where they didn't exist. The gold envelope arrived on a Thursday. Heavy, pretentious, expensive. My name was written in calligraphy so delicate it felt insulting. This wasn't an invitation. This was provocation. Inside, "You are invited as family of the bride." Dress code, gold and champagne. No +1. No personalized message, just entitlement. I laughed, an actual laugh that startled even me. I took the envelope to therapy. "What should I do?" I asked. Dr. Keene didn't hesitate. "Do what your younger self needed. Close the chapter on your terms." So I did. I bought a dress that fit the woman I'd become. Black silk, open back, high slit, unapologetic. Cal didn't tell me I looked beautiful. He looked at me like he knew I wasn't asking for validation. "Be careful," he said as I grabbed my keys. "Always," I replied. The wedding was held at a glass-walled estate overlooking Lake Chelan. Perfect, cold, curated. When I walked in, conversations stopped. Eyes widened. My mother's mouth parted like she'd seen a ghost. "Leela," she whispered. My father blinked slowly, calculating his next move. Ethan looked like he'd swallowed a stone. Sabrina's face turned pale. I offered a polite nod and walked past them. Sabrina cornered me near the bar. Her voice trembled with fake kindness. "Leela, you came. I hope you're not upset." I mean, everything happened so naturally. I stared at her for a long moment. Then I said a sentence I'd been saving, not for revenge, but for closure. "You didn't steal him. I left trash where it belonged." Her face broke. Her confidence shattered. Her eyes filled with tears she couldn't blink away. Ethan approached, face flushed. "Leela, can we talk?" I turned away. No, that single word carried every boundary I'd never been allowed to set. My parents tried too. "We miss you. Come home. Let's fix this." I smiled gently. "I'm not broken, you just never saw me." And I walked away, calm, tall, powerful. Standing on the ballroom balcony, overlooking the lake reflecting gold lights, I realized something. Revenge wasn't confrontation. Revenge was walking away without looking back. The morning after the wedding felt like waking inside a world I didn't recognize. Quiet, heavy, but strangely uncluttered. I checked out of the lakeside hotel early, before the bridesmaids even started scraping glitter off their eyelids. I drove back to the coast with the windows cracked open, letting the cold December air whip against my face until it numbed the parts of me still capable of hurting. Back in the little coastal town, the one place where my lungs finally remembered how to breathe, I walked into the motel lobby with my suitcase trailing behind me. Arya looked up, her brows knitting together. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. And for once it actually felt true. She slid a steaming mug of tea across the desk. "Welcome back." That was how it felt. Like returning to a life that finally belonged to me. I spent the next weeks building a routine, morning coffee on the cliffs, work meetings on my laptop, helping guests check in and out, listening to the ocean melt the noise my head had carried for years. Therapy continued, too. Every session peeled off another layer of guilt, shame, and silence I'd been taught to live with. One day, Dr. Keene asked, "When you think of your future, who do you see standing with you?" My throat tightened. For years, the answer had been Ethan. Then no one. Now, I wasn't sure. But that uncertainty felt like freedom, not fear. Cal remained a gentle presence. Sometimes we shared quiet dinners in his studio apartment above the surf shop. Sometimes he helped me edit photos from the cliffside overlook. Sometimes we didn't talk at all, just existed in the same room without expectation. One evening in early spring, he knocked on my motel door holding a small, wrapped package. "Open it," he said. Inside was a camera strap embroidered with wildflowers in muted colors. Nothing flashy, nothing loud, just simple and thoughtful. "Made by a local artist," he added. "Figured the world should see what you're capturing." I didn't cry, but something warm unfurled inside me, quiet and steady. By April, my content job promoted me. By June, I rented a tiny one-bedroom apartment above a bookstore. By August, I held my first photography exhibition at a local cafe. Nothing big, but people stopped and stared, and that mattered more than anything my old life ever offered. The town began to feel like an extension of my skin. Residents waved at me. Children recognized me. Shop owners saved extra pastries for me. My old life didn't cross my mind until one morning when a coworker texted me a link. "Have you seen this? It's about Ethan." My stomach didn't twist. My fingers didn't shake, but I clicked. The headline read, "Local business owner accused of financial misconduct." I skimmed the article. Ethan, the engagement party venue, the wedding funds. The surprise honeymoon he bought Sabrina on my family's dime. Everything was coming out. And Sabrina, she posted vague quotes on Instagram about betrayal and trusting the wrong people. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like gravity. Things finally falling where they belonged. That evening, as I closed my laptop, Cal said softly, "Looks like life is tying up its own loose ends." I didn't answer. Because deep down, I already knew. Life wasn't punishing them for what they did to me. Life was revealing who they truly were. The real victory wasn't watching them fall. It was realizing I no longer cared whether they did. By late autumn, the air had turned sharp, carrying the scent of wood smoke and sea salt. My apartment's windows fogged each morning, and I wiped them with my sleeve while watching fishermen cast lines along the pier. One Tuesday afternoon, a knock came at my door. I almost ignored it. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, my world didn't shatter, it simply paused. Sabrina stood on my porch. Her hair was unstyled, her eyeliner smudged, her expensive coat hanging off her shoulders like it no longer belonged to her. She clutched her purse with trembling fingers. I didn't invite her in. I didn't speak. I just waited. "Leela," she whispered. I didn't know where else to go, a familiar sentence. One I used to say, one no one ever helped me with. "What do you need?" I asked, my voice steady, neutral. She swallowed hard. "I messed everything up." I said nothing. She continued, eyes filling. "Ethan, he cheated, with someone from work. And he lied about money, he used me. He used all of us." I nodded once. Not cruel, not warm, just acknowledgement. She took a shaking breath. "I thought he loved me. I thought," she paused. "I thought I took him because you didn't deserve him." There it was. The truth she'd buried under vanity, jealousy, and competition. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger toward her. I felt pity. Not for her heartbreak. For the version of herself she'd believed in. "You didn't steal him," I said softly. "You inherited a problem I walked away from." She flinched. Tears rolled down her cheeks, messy and uncontrolled. I didn't hug her. I didn't lead her inside. I just handed her a tissue. "Thank you," she whispered as she wiped her face. Not for the tissue, for the truth. Before leaving, she hesitated. "Are we still family?" I inhaled deeply. "We can rebuild something someday. But I won't carry what you break again." She nodded, understanding without protest. As she walked down the steps, she looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. Not defeated, just learning. That night I told Cal what happened. He didn't weigh in or give advice. He simply said, "You handled that with more grace than anyone deserved." For the first time, I believed him. Winter arrived early that year, crisp and quiet. The town transformed into a postcard, string lights across the pier, cinnamon scents drifting from the bakery, blankets layered over cafe chairs. Life wasn't perfect, but it fit me. I launched a small online print shop for my photography. Orders came in slowly at first, then quickly after a travel influencer reposted one of my cliffside shots. My inbox filled with inquiries. My confidence filled with something new, certainty. One evening, while editing photos in my studio corner, I heard the soft click of the door opening. It was my mother. I hadn't seen her in almost a year. Her hair was tied back, not styled. Her coat was plain, not expensive. Her makeup was minimal. She looked older, softer, maybe smaller. My instinctive reaction wasn't fear or anger. It was something unexpected, distance. She hesitated before speaking. Leela, I didn't want to come uninvited, but I didn't know if another letter would reach you. I didn't invite her in. She continued. I lost track of who I was, and who you were, I thought. She swallowed. I thought protecting Sabrina meant losing you. I didn't respond. She looked around at my small apartment, the plants, the photographs, the shelves filled with books and ceramic mugs. Your life looks beautiful, she said quietly. Beautiful wasn't how I would have described it, but hearing it from her felt like standing in sunlight after too many winters. She opened her purse and pulled out something wrapped in cloth. This was your grandmother's, she said. I froze. Inside the cloth was a delicate gold chain, my grandmother's locket. The one she promised would go to me. The one my mother once said she'd misplaced. I couldn't speak. My mother looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for the chance to learn how to be your mother. I didn't offer a hug. I didn't make promises. I simply said, we'll start slow. Her shoulders dropped with relief. That was enough for both of us. Christmas morning came quietly. Snow dusted the rooftops and covered the boardwalk in a thin layer of white. I stood by my window, watching boats drift lazily along the harbor. The world looked soft, untouched, peaceful. My phone buzzed. Cal, you awake? He texted. Barely, I replied. Get dressed, I'm downstairs. I threw on a sweater and boots, grabbed my camera and headed out. The cold air hit my cheeks, sharp and clean. Cal leaned against his Jeep, 2 thermoses in hand. Come on, he said. I want to show you something. We drove up a winding road toward a hidden viewpoint, the same cliff where we first watched the sunset months ago. When we arrived, he laid out a blanket on the cold rock and handed me a thermos of hot cocoa. Merry Christmas, he said softly. We sat in silence, watching the sun rise over the horizon. The sky bled into soft pinks and oranges, reflecting off the waves like glass. Cal finally spoke. Do you ever think about how far you've come? I exhaled. All the time. He nodded toward the ocean. I've seen people run from things. But you walked toward yourself. My throat tightened. Not because of emotion, because of recognition. He wasn't praising me. He was witnessing me. We sat for a long time, letting the wind wrap around us. An hour later, my phone buzzed again. A video call. Sabrina, I answered. She stood in her tiny apartment, bare walls, second-hand furniture, nothing like the luxury she grew up chasing. Merry Christmas, she said quietly. You too. I just wanted to show you something. She turned the camera. On her counter was a small pottery set, imperfect, lopsided bowls she'd made herself. I'm learning something new, something that's mine. I smiled softly. I'm proud of you. She wiped her eyes. Mom told me she visited you. Dad wants to try therapy too. I nodded. Good. She hesitated before asking the question she once would have demanded. Are we okay? I looked at her, really looked. We're getting there. She smiled through tears. After ending the call, I tucked my phone into my pocket. Cal nudged me gently. You okay? I nodded. I'm more than okay. The ocean roared below us, steady and unstoppable. For the first time in my life, the future didn't feel like something I had to earn by being small. It felt like something I could build, one choice at a time. I stood, letting the wind whip through my hair. Cal watched me with that quiet, steady gaze that made me feel grounded. I whispered into the cold morning air. They didn't break me. They released me. And I walked forward toward the edge of the cliff, toward the rising sun, toward a life that finally felt like mine, knowing I would never again shrink to fit someone else's story.